Welcome back. Happy August 1st. It is the first day of the Every Bit Counts Challenge, and I cannot wait for this month to begin. We are a family. There's 5 of the 6 of us that live here in Alaska. We started building a modern homestead in the summer of 2021. Jessica over at 3 Rivers Homestead does the Every Bit Counts Challenge. Last year was my first year participating, and this year I am so excited. I am so excited that what we're gonna be doing is right here on our own homestead. Instead of having to hit those farmers markets as much as I did before, I've actually accomplished some things. What a difference a year makes, and I can't wait to share all of it with you. Let's get in. Happy August 1st. Let's start it out with a little garden tour. The weather is finally improving. We are getting some sunshine. Things are growing. And I want to see, where's the garden at on August 1st, and then where is it at the very end of the month, and how did it grow and change throughout these final days of gardening here in Alaska. Those of you that don't know, I'm in South Central Alaska. I am just a couple of miles from the Cook Inlet, which is the ocean right over there between Anchorage and where we are at. And I am maybe 30 foot above sea level, like something ridiculously low. So my elevation is very, very low. I'm very close to the water. And then we are here on a lake, and this year has been record rainfall for Alaska, causing some hiccups along the way. That's totally fine. That's to be expected with gardening. Again, those of you that are new around here, I went to college this late winter, early spring in order to just really learn to garden in Alaska. I jumped 2 foot into the deep end without looking and just really believed I could do this, and here we are doing it. It is shocking. If you started following me last year for the Every Bit Counts Challenge, you will be shocked at the improvement and the growth. I have made leaps and bounds as far as gardening goes, so I am excited, ecstatic, over the top to share those things with you here. Some challenges we have is sunlight. The sun likes to shine 20 hours a day here during the summer, which causes certain things to occur in a garden. Bolting, which means it goes to flower or to seed. That is broccoli. But I'm learning as we go. There is so much ready in this garden for us to start harvesting. Some of the preservation methods you can expect to see here on this modern homestead are going to be traditional canning methods, whether that is hot water bathing, whether that is pressure canning. When we jump to pressure canning, we have 2 things. We have an electric pressure canner that's on top of the counter, and then we have your traditional weighted so on pressure canner. We will also be freezing lots of things. We like to freeze our fish and our chickens we're going to harvest, and so on. We have a new to us, it's brand new, freeze dryer, so we will be freeze drying some things. Let's work with a dehydrator. Let's see if we can dehydrate some things as well, and any other canning, preserving, packing, so on method you can think of. So I have a guest in my garden. He's one of the cutest boys on earth, according to me. That's because he's mine, and he looks just like his daddy. So Caleb came to check it out with us. What about our cover crop? It looks like we have lost our minds and that I'm not attending to these pathways and these walkways. I always dreamed of having living walkways, and our cover crop was planted in the walkways, and it is growing beautifully. Absolutely beautifully. Let's start in the area that we don't need to harvest from. Starting down here, tomatillos. What I have done today while I was chatting with Caleb in the garden, little tidbit of mom advice. We do this for our families. So when one of them joins you in the garden, shut off the camera if you're trying to have a YouTube channel and do those things. If I could give any advice to a new YouTuber out there that's maybe starting with this challenge or something like that, when your children walk in, when your husband wants your attention, stop, because we do all of this for them, for the family. Most important thing. So as Kayla and I walked along, I come through, I grab some clips like this, and I am just securing up the tomatillos. We have peppers that border this. They're teeny tiny. I may or may never get a pepper this year. We will see. We're totally gonna do things as far as the peppers go differently. But y'all look at the size of the tomato plants, and when I get down there, I actually have some tomatoes starting. So I think we're gonna end up with a tomatoes harvest this year. Every single tomato and pepper and tomatillo that you see, I started from seed. And this end of the garden are tomatoes and breeds and so on. They're called like subarctic and things like that. These are intended to grow in our environment, and they are doing amazing. So when I got right down here, look, we have baby tomatoes starting. Yes, yes, yes. Whew. Who is excited? So, tomato trellis was built by my lovely husband, and we built up this bed about 12 inches and then planted in the soil. What I'm finding out, though, lesson learned, is the peppers I have in grow bags as an experiment back there are doing much larger and much better than the peppers that were planted directly into the ground at the same time. Every other pepper you see here, I had culled them and I wasn't going to plant them, and then I decided they were hanging on, so for dear life that I put them in the garden. Better to have something growing in the soil than to have nothing in the soil. Therefore, they got planted. Now, we're not harvesting from this. I just wanted documentation on how these beds are doing. And as we float along, you will see lots of pollinators. There are butterflies like crazy and bees throughout the garden. And that leads me to, do we harvest? Do we cull? Look, the broccoli right here is covered in bees. And it's beautiful. So what I think I'm gonna do is maybe trim off some of the leaves and branches off of the broccoli that we're not gonna get anything off of, and I'm gonna feed that to the chickens, but I may leave the flowers. The flowers are bringing in all of the good bugs, and we need that here for certain. So yeah, let's move on to the beds, and we're about to get harvesting. Caleb and I found something I didn't even know was here and ready, and I'm so excited to harvest it. Bed number 1, that is what I have labeled it. We have harvested this bed. We have harvested radishes, and we have harvested the lettuce out of here. We then succession planted this bed. And what I need to decide today is what we want to harvest, what do we have the most of, and what can we get, how can we kind of start preserving that. And what's got to go is the broccoli throughout the garden. I have planted 2 kinds of broccoli. I don't know which one is which, and I need to do a better job of that next year. One of the kinds of broccoli, I have been able to harvest several heads off of it, and the other one just bolted like crazy, and I can literally look at the leaves and see that there's a difference. And then if they go too long, because it has been raining like crazy and I haven't been able to be out here, they do in fact both bolt. However, let's go through and see. I'm gonna pull all of these broccoli heads. Okay, bed number 2. I didn't get to do a big harvest out of bed number 2, but I did do quite a bit of cleanup, and she's gonna be beautiful. I wanted to show you though. Okay, first of all, we have taken some tops off the onions. It causes the bulb to grow bigger. This will be our second cutting of that leaf lettuce there. We have tons of radishes starting to come up. Here is what broccoli does. So I obviously took a head here, and so then this little broccoli started producing these offshoots. They're not ideal. They're not what you would buy in the store. However, the fact that they just shoot off these little heads of broccoli, they're young, they're tender, they're so sweet. Aaron and I enjoy them, and so I just trim back the broccoli. I take some leaves off of it. All that's going to the chickens. And then look at this head of cabbage. Oh, beautiful. So she was overcrowding the celery next to her, so I took some of the bigger bottom leaves. It's going to be fine. I have found on the heads of cabbage and so on that if I just trim some of the bottom leaves, giving space to everything. Sorry about that. My camera shut off and overheated. I had to put it in the freezer and get an ice pack for it. Nonetheless, I was showing you something. Bed number 2. Look at this. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So, whether that is a rutabaga or whatever it is, never grown that before. Super excited to see it growing. I'm gonna jump to bed 3. I have so many pollinators, so many bumblebees climbing around this bed with happiness and joy. And so we're just going to do minimal disruption to those as we possibly can. This ivy looks fake. It shouldn't be in the garden, but wow, that's a pretty little plant. Aren't you a pretty little sucker? Okay, and bed number 3. This is the thing, Kilvin. I went, where the heck did that come from? We were literally just here this weekend pulling broccoli and lettuces and those different things to eat. Never saw this guy, and now look at the size of it all of a sudden. So she is going in today. Okay, finished with bed number 3. She is beautiful. We are on to bed number 4, which is right here. Look at this weed. It's a pretty little weed. Look at that. So, this broccoli, we have already taken some cuttings, and now we're just gonna trim some more that we can get and wander through and check everything else. Okay, we're gonna run. This is one bed. One bed of cleaned up leaves and dead things and flowers that we don't need in the garden bed. This is gonna go over to the 50 chickens. I feed them like this constantly, so it isn't disruptive to their diet. They are totally used to. In fact, you can see just yesterday, I did the same. They love it. Okay, bed number 4 is done. Right here's probably a good angle. These 2 beds are potatoes. The potatoes got so big that they've fallen over. They're not dying, they're just massive. And that is great, that is great. Those won't be harvested all the way until fall. That's wonderful. Bed number 4 is done. 2 more beds, and then we can process the broccoli. I did want to document bed number 4. What I pulled out of here was some mustards that went to seed. But the broccoli cauliflowers are beautiful. Look at those. These ones have this purpley red hue to them. Love it. See it? See how purple they are? Beautiful. I did clean up a little bit on the kale. The kale is gonna get harvested this week throughout, and we're gonna freeze dry the kale for sure. Look at my onions. They're flowering. They're beautiful. Perfect. So the center rows, there was supposed to be bean stalks, if you will. Something to grow up on. But throughout the garden, this is a red bean or a pink bean. So this is a bush bean. And then the rest are vines. And then when you get to, it's a weed. When you get to these that have now overgrown into the path and walkways, they are just incredible. Pull some weeds out of there. They are so long, but they're flowering. And so, oh, look, peas. These are sugar snap peas. This is my first one of the season. For more water. Oh my goodness. You guys, that is like, it is sugar. There's no bitterness. Oh. Okay. I'm gonna have to reevaluate what we did here. Give me a minute. I'll be right back. These guys here are yellow beans, and then those are the pink ones. And they're in every bed. And then we have green beans, shell peas, sugar snap peas in every bed. And they're just growing together. I've made a mess for myself. So I'm gonna grab any of the big fat ones that I see, take them in for Aaron to have as a snack, and then we are going to address that later, I decided. How about that? Okay, bed number 5, beautiful. I was pretty harsh on this bed. I haven't been hard on this bed, but oh my gosh, she has produced some things. So I do a square foot gardening method. Now, just because it says like rutabaga, or that's not a good example, because the square foot on my gardening map might have been a radish. There's so many kinds of radish that there was different radishes in all of the gardening beds. So a couple of things that are ready. I could technically do them today, but I'm not ready for them. That are these, the kohlrabi. Look at that. There's a huge one right there. That kohlrabi is ready to harvest. I'm not ready for it. Kohlrabi has a really mild cabbage flavor, and it is wonderful as some sort of coleslaw. My in-laws will be here this Friday. I'm hoping to get those. Let's make a slaw. I can have Aaron like do some pork roast on the smoker. That would be amazing. There is a cauliflower head though that we're going to grab today, and that is this guy here. Now, it's not a massive cauliflower like the other one. However, what happens with the amount of sunlight that we get is they start to spread out like this guy did, and that is a nice firm head of cauliflower. So she's gonna go, and then there's one other thing I want to show you in this bed. Okay, this bed is full of, these are shallots up front here. Look at this! Look at this. So these are turnips. I'm gonna just see how this one and this one are crowding this guy here. So we're gonna grab those, but look at the size of that. That guy is going in with me. And then that'll free up space for that one to continue to grow. Oh my goodness, aren't they so beautiful? Look at that. You guys, I am having the best time with you today. I hope that you are too, and if you are, hit that thumbs up button. Nothing is fake, nothing is. It's gonna make me emotional, but holy cow, how far we have come from last season's Every Bit Counts to today is so leaps and bounds. I can't even tell you. I can't even tell you what this feels like to grow my own food, to accomplish these things that I set out to accomplish. But I have one more bed to tackle, so no sense in getting emotional yet. Let's tackle that bed, grab that cauliflower, feed the chickens, head in. Let me grab a couple more things out of this bed. I called it the lettuce pretty hard there. And then I'll deal with the broccoli. She is doing beautiful. This is my odd bed that isn't square foot. The beans and peas, onions, brassicas, celery, carrots, was lettuce, maybe pumpkins or zucchinis or whatever, sunflowers. Very simple, straightforward bed. I did flip the beans and peas towards the walkway where I can just kind of move around them, but they were crowding the onion area. So that was my culprit. I got kind of trapped right there and scraped my leg right there on that guy. A couple of beautiful kohlrabies, the purple ones here. So I decided to pull any broccoli here because, you know, and then we have several in this bed that are doing nice. We will come out and trim all of the leaves off of those. Those are Brussels sprouts. I personally love Brussels sprouts. My family does it. I haven't managed to actually grow a Brussels sprout. Not sure why, but I think this year will actually accomplish it. We've done some great things with cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, kohlrabi. We will grow Brussels sprouts. I just know it. So because this is crowded in here, I am gonna grab the broccoli out, throw all this stuff to the chickens, and then meet you inside. So the process we're going to use is freeze drying the broccoli. Now, what I reference from Harvest Right is that it is best to blanch. So we're gonna put the broccoli in boiling water and then in ice cold water, we're gonna blanch it. You could move to freezing, which is how I did the broccoli last year. Otherwise, we are going to freeze dry it. The other goal I have is cleaning out the freezer so that we can refill the freezers. So in doing so, if this isn't enough broccoli to fill the freeze dryer, we will then go to the vegetable freezer and clear out any broccoli that we had blanched and froze last season and get that. The goal, the end goal of what we're gonna do with this broccoli is make like broccoli and cheese soup, those sort of things over winter. So having it freeze dried as opposed to taking up freezer space is going to be amazing. And then there is some broccoli still growing. I like frozen broccoli, so we're gonna rotate through and get some fresh broccoli frozen a little later in the season. Now, because I do have so much cauliflower out there that is just now coming to little heads, and I only had these two, I broke them kind of in some bigger chunks. The water is ready, and so I'm gonna go in and do the cauliflower before the broccoli, and I'm gonna just blanch and freeze this. Then when it's time, I'm not sure if I'm going to freeze dry my cauliflower or not, but I do like to freeze by blanching and then freezing cauliflower for sure. So let me get this done. Oh, I don't know where my great big bowl is. So I have a pan of really cold water here. We're gonna add ice to it. There's a little bit of salt in the boiling water, so make sure you do salt your water before you throw your vegetables. Depending on the vegetables, 2, 3, up to 5 minutes is all they need. They kind of become a really bright color, and once they do, we know that they're done. All right, we are gonna push start on the freeze dryer. That's all I have to do. And it's going to cool the vacuum chamber, and it's gonna take at least 15 minutes. So While that's happening, I am going to jump over here and get the trays loaded, and we'll be right back when this is ready for the next step. And I'm gonna show you how easy freeze drying actually is. Well, this is it. This is all the broccoli I have left from last year's farmer's market and garden harvest. And so that is really good. Like, obviously we put up enough broccoli. I'm just gonna break it up and get it on the tray. I did, however, over the winter go to Costco and bought some broccoli florets that are in the freezer, and so we're also gonna get those in the freeze dryer, like we said, just clearing space in the freezer. So I do intend, if you would hit that subscribe button, I will actually be walking you through and showing you my entire food storage, what we do, how we do it, and why we do things the way that we do here at Modern Homestead Alaska. So make sure you have hit that subscribe button. That is how you know you'll be in the know of what we have going on as we walk through. There's no way to put all of it in one video. Today's video is already exceptionally long, but we were so successful. We had an amazing day. I am on cloud 9. I am so amped and ready for this month to roll along and see what we can't get done. So I also have additional space has been added to the basement specifically for freeze-dried fruits and vegetables, meals, all those different things. So make sure you're part of the channel. 15. There we go. Load trays into freeze dryer, close drain valve. That's over here on the side. Close that. My oil is good, my pump is on, and I'm gonna push continue. And there we have it. That is all you have to do. How simple is that? When we get to the point we have to change oil and different things, I'll take you guys along for that as well. Thank you, those of you who have stuck around all the way to the end. Make sure if you are making videos that you're hitting that hashtag #EveryBitCountsChallenge. That links you to all of the videos. If you also click on that hashtag, you can follow other channels and other people that are making these similar type of videos. Thank you for being part of the channel, our family, and all that we have going on here. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. And until next time, I'll see you later. Be blessed.